Hi everyone. It's time for me to boot the beehive again. I know this is a touchy subject and that everybody's going crazy over the leaked information from the Supreme Court about the possible decision from them about Roe versus Wade and what it might do to affect abortion. And just especially it's making all the Democrats, leftists, and abortion right activists have been going absolutely insane over that illegally released Supreme Court potential decision. And the mainstream media is backing them up, of course. And just Democrats and others have been calling for protests, even violent ones. Riots have been happening all over our country. Something about this looks and sounds really familiar, though. But their leaders weren't calling for violence, though. It was protests and some rioting over a potential political result they didn't like and perhaps wanted to disrupt it. Happened over a year ago. But the Democrats and the mainstream media have been talking about it for about a year or longer now. Insurrection, that's right. January 6th. Donald Trump's rally, where he was calling for peaceful protest and was still. Where the riot kicked off for just over a mile away from the rally before his even ended. And they called it insurrection. Just what will the Congress and Senate call this? Where members of the Congress and Senate are calling for violence in the streets, with video evidence of that and rioting going on. Does that count as insurrection? Wouldn't that count as an impeachable offense? But that's enough about them. Let me address what's really got people getting mad and upset about. The Roe versus Wade and abortion. First off, let me tell you about my own personal opinion on this. I'm pro-life, alright? But I'm also where we actually follow the law. So if it's legal, it's legal. Your choice. Now, as for the Supreme Court, their job isn't to create the law, but to interpret the law and determine if it's constitutional or not. Period. Okay? When Roe versus Wade went through, the Supreme Court basically made abortion legal nationally without a law being passed in the Congress and Senate. The leaked Roe versus Wade decision is not a final decision by the Supreme Court. Things might change. But what was done by the leaker was unprecedented since the start of our country and illegal. I hope they get caught and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and lose their job and get disbarred. But I want you to understand this clearly. If Roe versus Wade is overturned, it does not ban abortion. Okay? What it does do is put the onus back on the states and their laws. Your state, your choice. If you're in a Democrat-controlled state, why are you complaining? You're just fine, right? You get all abortions all you want. And a lot of them are up to and including the point of birth. And some of them are saying that they can have it up to a month afterward. I'm not joking. Who would want that? People should be outraged by that particular idea. If it's a Republican state, there will probably be restrictions placed on abortion, if not banned. But that's on a state-by-state basis. But that also doesn't prohibit you from going to another state to go get one. Also, that does not prohibit the federal government from passing a law and make it legal nationwide, like they should have done in the first place if they wanted it legal nationwide, instead of having the Supreme Court do it for them. Now, let me address why, personally, I think the Democrats, leftists, and the mainstream media are covering this so hard. They are pulling a magic trick of distraction. They're going, look at this hand, while they pick your pocket. And it's a rather neat coincidence that they had this leak happen shortly after a bit of information came out. It's thousands of pages of documents from Pfizer about the effectiveness of the vaccine and the side effects of the vaccine. Originally, they wanted to keep all of this information bottled up until 2096. Wouldn't that make you just a little suspicious? I know it does me. But the courts forced them to release it to the public much sooner than that. That we deserved to know. So the first set of documents was kicked loose just within the past few days. Remember how Pfizer bragged how the effectiveness of the vaccine was 95%? Well, from Pfizer's own documents, the effectiveness of their vaccine was as low as 12%. That is a huge difference in how well it worked on getting those vaccines, wouldn't you say? Not to mention, they have documented hundreds of side effects from the vaccine, from their trial cases, some of them quite severe. And yet they didn't tell us. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the vaccines available to us here in America, although Joe Biden and the Democrats and the FDA say that Pfizer has been approved by the FDA, only emergency authorized Pfizer vaccines are available to us, not the FDA approved vaccine is available to us. That should make you stop and think as well, which means we can't sue Pfizer if something goes wrong. And Pfizer also uses those PCR tests and those take-it-home tests, those PCR tests. They came out with their own documentation on those, because Pfizer uses those to test on their own vaccines. Conveniently, they were prone to producing false positives. When running them for 35 or more cycles, the accuracy on those PCR tests drops to 3%. 3. That means that 97% of positive results on a PCR test could be, I repeat, could be a false positive. Our and other countries across the world mandated these tests and vaccines across the world. So many have lost their livelihoods and 2 years of their lives to draconian mandates driven by this data. The worst part of all of this is that Pfizer's own documents show these numbers that you can see. They knew they were lying about the PCR tests. They knew they were lying about how effective the vaccine was. Corrupt bureaucrats, doctors, and businessmen need to be held accountable for this and possible crimes. I have 3 different links which will give you some information about the effectiveness and the side effects about this vaccine from Pfizer that you can look at your own pace and at your own time if you wish. But I hope that you'll take time to think about what it means if Roe versus Wade is overturned, and that it does not mean that everything is banished and everything is tragic, and let things cool down. Let things calm down. If you're not if you're against abortion, okay. If you're pro-abortion, look at your state. If you're indifferent, okay, it doesn't matter. All it means is that you need to talk to your state representatives in your own Congress, in your own Senate, to your governor. Let them know how you feel. Talk to them about making state laws about how you want things to go. Contact them over the phone, via email, in person, but do it peacefully. We don't need to have another set of this. We don't need to burn down our cities again. Our country is struggling enough as it is. We need to rebuild. We need to get our economy going again. We need to get our jobs back. So please, stop that madness and let's get our crap together. Okay? Thank you.